Am I the antagonist for calling my sister-in-law pathetic during a family dinner? My fiancé, Chris, is the youngest in his family with 2 older siblings, a brother and a sister. I have one sister who is 9 years younger than me. I don't believe that birth order determines personality, but it can enhance traits. I've always been quiet, even-tempered, and nurturing. Having a little sister amplified these qualities for me. Meanwhile, Chris was the baby of his family and was taken care of in a similar way. I have known Chris's family since we were 16. While I personally have never had any problems with them, I witnessed a few fights between him and his sister over the years. The fights were about Chris receiving more privileges or attention, being seen as a golden child. I stayed out of it because I felt it was their issue to resolve. Last Thursday, we left on a weekend trip with his family. Chris was feeling uncomfortable due to the heat, so I asked if there was anything I could do to make him more comfortable. I unbuckled his seatbelt for him and told him to relax. His sister made a comment about him being coddled, but I didn't think much of it. Later at dinner, Chris realized he was too warm and went to the bathroom to switch his hoodie for a t-shirt. When we came back, his sister made a snide remark about him still receiving special treatment. I was annoyed by the repeated comments, so I confronted her, mentioning how it was pathetic for her to still be bringing up an argument from years ago. She left to wait in the car. Since then, tensions have been high, and although the issue hasn't been brought up again, I am unsure if I overstepped. Am I the asshole? You did not overstep in this situation. It seems like Chris's sister has been harboring resentment towards Chris for a long time, and it's understandable that you would be tired of hearing the same argument brought up repeatedly. Your comment may have been blunt, but it was justified given the circumstances. It's important to communicate your frustrations and stand up for yourself, especially if it's affecting your relationship. However, since tensions are high right now, it might be a good idea to have a calm conversation with Chris's sister to discuss the issues at hand and try to resolve them. Am I the antagonist for not taking my sister's side about her exclusive wedding choices? My sister is getting married late next year after a long engagement. Her fiancé has a large family, and she's feeling pressured by his mom to invite many people. However, she prefers a more expensive venue with a smaller guest list. As a result, she has chosen not to invite a lot of people's partners, including the boyfriend of the best man, who is the groom's twin brother, and my own partner, with whom I live. Initially, I was told I could bring a +1, and I planned to invite my best friend and old college roommate from the UK. However, since I moved in with my partner and my friend returned to England, my +1 invitation was rescinded. Despite some people declining their invitation, my partner has not been invited. It's worth noting that my sister has met him several times and even stayed at our home. My mom, without my knowledge, offered to pay for my partner to attend the wedding because my parents wanted him there. Yet my sister got in touch to say he cannot come at all. Her reasons included expense, despite my mom's offer, concerns about setting a precedent, and wanting me to focus on her during the day. She argued that if she invited my partner, she would also have to invite the best man's partner. I pointed out that this decision would understandably upset the best man. I told her that her choice will likely result in people being disappointed, and she might have to accept that. She keeps expressing fear that I will hate her and believes that I am contributing to the negativity surrounding her choices, even though she was the one who brought it up. It seems like she wants me to side with her and agree with her decision, but I find it difficult to do so. I genuinely believe it is wrong not to invite long-term partners of immediate family. Despite this, I have reassured her that I won't hold a grudge or hate her forever, but she won't let the issue go. It's as if she wants my validation for her decision. My partner is my closest friend, and we have built a life together. If someone else did this, I would simply choose not to attend the wedding. However, because it is my sister's wedding and I am the maid of honor, I feel obligated to go even though I am upset with her. I don't want to dwell on this issue or bring it up again, but I will not take her side. She is making me feel guilty, as if I'm somehow victimizing her by being upset. Am I making this about myself? Should I just let it go and support her decision? In summary, my sister has chosen not to invite significant others within the immediate family to her wedding, including mine and the best man's. She seems to want me to side with her, considering my role as the maid of honor. I am concerned that I am making it too much about myself, but I disagree with her priorities and cannot lie and tell her she is right. It seems like your sister is making a decision that is causing distress among immediate family members, including yourself. It is understandable for you to be upset and not agree with her choice to exclude long-term partners. Your sister should consider the feelings and relationships of her loved ones when making her wedding guest list. It might be worth having a calm and honest conversation with her, expressing your concerns about her decision and how it affects you and your relationship with your partner. However, it is important to be understanding and try to find a compromise that works for everyone involved. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to reconcile with my father and meet his wife? My dad and I have a strained relationship because even before I was born, he cheated on my mom, and after I was born, he wasn't there for us as a family. When I was a kid, my parents took me to Wendy's for my birthday, but he left us there and took the car after arguing with her. We did used to go on trips, the three of us, when I was young, but he stopped suddenly because apparently he got married and didn't tell us. On the last Father's Day, I saw him. It's been 10 years. He came over to pick up food I made for him and my mom spotted the ring. We asked him about it and he just said, "Oh yeah, I'm married." Getting him to help with child support was like pulling teeth even though my mom is retired and disabled. And he has a stable income. He bought his wife a car and just bought himself one from a job that my mom helped him get, or else he wouldn't have gone to school. I asked about this once when I was very young. Innocently, I was genuinely curious and didn't really understand, and he told me don't talk about that. He did help me set up an account to help me pay for some college tuition, but he blocked me from using it unless I got my mom to sign over a piece of property in her name. We believe it's because of his wife, as he never harped on it until he got married to her. Most of our conversations over the years have been arguments that would end with, "You're just like your mom." With that, he's been wanting to get together, and I finally agreed as long as my mom can come. We thought he wanted to do that because he wants my mom to sign the property over. Or he just wanted to right the wrongs. No arguing ensued, but as we approached home, he mentioned the property last minute and said, "Don't make my life miserable." He never mentions anything from the past or even apologizes and just says the past is the past, I've moved on. He also said he'd really like me to be like a family with him, his wife, and their daughter, because it's hard to stay separate. But I don't want to unless my mom can be included. He said his wife has an issue with it, but just like he doesn't want to keep his family and me separate, I cannot keep my mom separate from this. It is wrong to me, and I just feel for my mom because he hurt her so much. She's my best friend, and I don't care to mix my life with theirs. The most I'm open to doing is helping my father as he gets older, or if he gets sick. I have nothing personal against his wife and kid. Maybe they're good people. But I just agreed to meeting him because I didn't want to be an asshole and take things for granted. I just can't get behind being a family with him, his wife, and his daughter like he wants me to after everything that's transpired, and how he hurt my mom. Am I the asshole? Your feelings towards your father and his actions are completely valid. It's understandable that you have a strained relationship with him due to his past behavior and the pain he has caused your mother. It's also understandable that you want your mother to be included in any interactions with him. While it's important to be open to forgiveness and reconciliation, it doesn't mean you have to completely forget the past or automatically accept a new family dynamic that may undermine your relationship with your mother. You have the right to set boundaries and prioritize your own well-being as well as your mother's. It's commendable that you're willing to help your father if he gets older or sick, as it shows that you are still willing to extend a hand despite the hurt he has caused. However, it's okay to maintain your own boundaries and not want to be closely involved with him and his new family. In summary, you are not the asshole for wanting to maintain a separate relationship with your father and not want to be a close-knit family with him, his wife, and their daughter. It's important to prioritize your emotional well-being and the relationship you have with your mother. Am I the antagonist for refusing to make it up to my stepsister after bringing up her dead father who I didn't know was dead? Okay, so I feel like a monster, but I also feel like I need to stand my ground here, but I don't want to be a mega asshole. I, a 20-year-old female, have a stepsister named Jane, 18 years old, whom I have known for 7 years. We've had our ups and downs, but ultimately she's family and I would never want to intentionally hurt her. One thing she does a lot during arguments with her mom is say, "Well, Dad would let me do X, or maybe I'll go stay with Dad then." I never met her dad. I've seen him a few times, but I was never properly introduced to him. Him and Lucy, my stepmom, had a bad breakup, and she didn't want him to meet my mom or me, which I can understand given what she's told me about him. For the past week, Jane had been even more irritable than usual. I tried talking to her, but she shut me out. Lucy and Mom told me she'd come around and not to pry. I found out a few days ago that she had been using my expensive skincare and had almost emptied a bottle that takes me 5 months to finish in a week, as well as using and almost emptying all my other skincare stuff. I was pissed and confronted her, telling her to replace it. She started crying and getting angry at me. She said I was being an annoying person for chasing her up on face wash and that I need to leave her alone. I will admit, we both said harmful things which I regret, and I ended up saying, "Why don't you go live with your dad since he'll let you off?" Jane's face dropped and she said, "My dad died last week, you person." She ran and locked herself in her room after she said that, and I immediately regretted what I said. Shortly after, Lucy and Mom came home, and I explained what had happened. They both said I needed to apologize, which I agreed with. Lucy went to talk to Jane and afterwards told me Jane would only forgive me if I was grounded until the new year and she had free range of my wardrobe. She loves my style but can't afford to buy clothes to fit it at the moment. I said no to both. I didn't bring up her dad as a gotcha, he's dead, moment as I didn't know he had passed. Obviously, if I had known, I wouldn't have said anything about it and would have treated her outbursts, change in behavior differently because I know now she was grieving. Lucy and Mom then said if I won't do those things, I should at least drive her around to her friend's university, etc. I again said no. We both go to different universities and the logistics won't work. Lucy said if I can't make it up to Jane, I shouldn't expect her to forgive me. I said I don't need Jane's sisterhood if it's only based on transactional things like car rides or clothes. Jane is fuming with me, and Lucy and Mom think I'm being petty and difficult for not even attempting to patch things up with Jane. I don't expect her to forgive me straight away as that's not how humans work, but no apology would suffice as she doesn't want an apology. She wants my things. So as it stands, it's 3 against 1. And everyone at home thinks I'm a huge asshole. Am I the asshole? While it was unfortunate that you made a hurtful comment without knowledge of Jane's father passing away, it was not intentionally malicious, and you immediately regretted it. It's understandable that you were upset about your expensive skincare being used without permission. And it's reasonable to expect Jane to replace what she used. While it's important to apologize and express your remorse to Jane, it's not fair for her to demand that you be grounded and give her free access to your wardrobe as a condition for forgiveness. This seems like she is taking advantage of the situation and trying to get something in return rather than seeking genuine reconciliation. Driving her around or meeting other specific demands also may not be realistic or feasible for you. It's unfair for Lucy and your mom to expect you to cater to Jane's demands in order to make amends. Your perspective on not needing a transactional relationship based on material possessions and favors is valid. In conclusion, you made a mistake, but you are not the main antagonist in this situation. It would be best to apologize sincerely and express your willingness to mend the relationship, but also stand your ground and assert your boundaries. Am I the antagonist for trying to get my oldest sister to give my other sister money for her custody case? For context, Odie is my oldest sister and Elias is her husband. Anne is my middle sister and I am the youngest. A few years back, Odie received a large sum of money from a settlement at work. In addition, Elias is an ER doctor. They have a luxurious and expensive apartment, go on a few trips each year, and have no children and no plans of having any. Overall, they are financially well off. On the other hand, Anne is not doing as well as Odie and Elias. She is a single mom and has struggled to keep jobs due to her short temper. Our parents have full custody of one of Anne's children, but Anne has a 5-month-old daughter and has recently found out that she is pregnant again. Recently, our parents have started seeking custody of Anne's 5-month-old child. Since our parents are working class, Odie and Elias provided them with money for a lawyer. Once this process started, Anne immediately went to Odie asking for money for a lawyer. Odie is a very kind person and finds it difficult to say no to people. Elias, however, compensates for this with his assertive personality. When he saw Odie struggling, he quickly intervened and said, "No, she's not interested, she's just being polite." This was exactly what happened in this situation. Anne did not take this response well and claimed that she asked Odie directly, to which Odie said she agreed with her husband. An argument ensued, and it escalated to the point where Elias almost called the police to remove Anne from their house. Skipping forward a couple of weeks, Odie became seriously ill after an ovarian cyst ruptured, I believe, resulting in the need for cyst removal surgery. A few days later, Elias returned to work, and my mom was with Odie for the day. However, my mom had to leave to attend Bible study, and Elias was expected to return home soon after buying groceries. It was during this time that Anne showed up and started asking Odie for money again. Odie tried to persuade her to leave to avoid any conflict, but Anne refused. Eventually, Elias arrived home and had to call the police to get Anne to leave. Anne then approached me and explained her side of the situation, hoping for my help. I went to speak with Elias and did my best to understand their perspective. Still, I insisted on advocating for Anne because she simply wants to keep custody of her child, and it seems fair for Odie and Elias to provide her with financial assistance for a lawyer, just like they did for our parents. I mentioned that they clearly have the means to provide this support. However, Elias once again refused, and when I asked to speak with Odie, who was sleeping at the time, Elias expressed disappointment and told me to leave. Since then, Odie has not spoken to me or responded to my messages. Am I the asshole for trying to stand up for Anne? You are not the asshole for trying to stand up for Anne in this situation. It's understandable that you want to support your sister and advocate for her, especially when there seems to be a disparity in how Odie and Elias are helping different family members. However, it's important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding. It seems like Odie and Elias have already provided financial support to your parents for the custody case, which may have strained their resources. Additionally, they may have their own reasons for not providing money directly to Anne, such as wanting to ensure it is used for the best interests of the child. It's also worth considering that Odie's recent surgery may have been a factor in her not responding to your messages. She may be dealing with her own recovery and personal issues at the moment. Instead of pushing the issue further, try to have a calm and open conversation with Odie and Elias when they are ready. Express your concerns for Anne and your desire for fairness, but also listen to their perspective and reasons behind their decisions. Finding a solution that considers everyone's needs and boundaries is essential in resolving this conflict. Aita for not letting my mother meet her granddaughter. I am Livian, a 32-year-old female, and my husband is Dakota, a 33-year-old male. We have 2 kids together, a 7-year-old boy named Anthony and a 3-month-old named Sailor. Let me provide some background information about my family. My parents separated before I was born, and my mother was my legal guardian until I was about 10. However, I decided to move out of her place because she had substance abuse issues, and I believed I would have a better life with my father. Although my dad was always around, I never told him what was happening at my mom's place. Despite her partying and irresponsible behavior, I wasn't allowed to disclose any details to others, so I kept quiet. During that time, I took care of my siblings almost every night, babysitting them regularly. There was a Thanksgiving when we had Taco Bell for our meal, and the next Christmas, my mom went out drinking, leaving us without power and without any presents. On top of that, she was married to an abusive man physically and mentally for nearly 7 years. He only targeted my mom and me because I wasn't his biological child, and he held a grudge against my biological father from high school. People always blame me, saying it's my fault for not speaking up, but I was too young to understand the implications of doing so. It's unfair to hold a child responsible for such circumstances. I have a total of 9 siblings, 8 sisters, and 1 brother. 8 of them grew up with my mom and are fully her children. From the age of 6 to around 10, I ended up playing the role of a babysitter for them while my mom went out to party. When I moved in with my dad, she completely abandoned me and didn't contact me for a long time. She went to jail for drug possession when I was around 15, and this happened a few more times afterward. Despite all of this, my siblings who share the same mother still support her and think poorly of me. Now, I find myself in a situation where I am questioning myself. My mom recently got out of jail, which feels like the umpteenth time. She's been reaching out to me, wanting to meet my daughter. My husband and I have discussed this, and we both agree that we cannot trust my mom so soon after her release, and when she is likely still dealing with substance issues. My siblings disagree with our stance, but I just can't bring myself to allow my mom near my child. Perhaps when Sailor grows older they can have a relationship, but for now, I can't envision it, considering how young she is. The first time my mom met my son, we let her babysit him, and she ended up getting heavily drunk while being responsible for him. While I acknowledge that leaving him with her was my mistake, I still wanted to have some trust in my mother. Am I being unreasonable in this situation? Given your history with your mother, her substance abuse issues, and her behavior when she met your son, it is understandable that you have concerns about letting her near your 3-month-old daughter. Trust is something that needs to be earned, and at this point, it seems that your mother has not consistently demonstrated the ability to be responsible and prioritize the well-being of her children. It is crucial to prioritize the safety and well-being of your daughter above all else, and if you do not feel comfortable or trust your mother to be around her, it is entirely reasonable to set boundaries and be cautious about allowing her access at this time. Remember, you are the parent, and you have the right to make decisions that you believe are in the best interest of your child. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.